So tonight, Texas State University has suspended all Greek life activities after the death of a fraternity pledge. 20-year-old Matthew Ellis was found dead on Monday in what's believed to be another hazing-related death. His death coming on the same day that Pennsylvania prosecutors filed serious new charges against 17 students at Penn State University in connection with the death of Timothy Piazza. The sophomore died in February after a night of alcohol-fueled hazing rituals. Several of his so-called brothers in the fraternity now charged with involuntary manslaughter and a new charge as well of tampering with the evidence on the video cameras. Tim's parents, Jim and Evelyn Piazza, join us in a moment. But first, Trace Gallagher, live in our West Coast newsroom with the backstory tonight. Trace.
Martha, not only did FBI agents restore the missing video, but also recovered a flurry of text messages between fraternity brothers discussing how to erase the video. Court documents say the video footage is from the basement of the Beta Theta Pi house and shows much of the alcohol consumption, including the now infamous gauntlet, where pledges drink large amounts of booze in a short amount of time. Tim Piazza's blood alcohol level was 4 times the legal limit to drive, and the basement video apparently shows why. Prosecutors say Tim Piazza had 18 drinks in just under 1 hour and 22 minutes. And apparently Piazza never obtained a single drink himself. They were being brought to him by his fraternity brothers. Additional surveillance shows Piazza repeatedly falling, passing out, tumbling headfirst down a flight of stairs, then being carried back upstairs and placed on a couch by 4 fraternity brothers. Video also shows him being slapped and doused with water. When Piazza started thrashing, one brother screamed that his friend needed to go to the hospital, but that brother claims he was quickly confronted and told to shut up. It wasn't until 10:48 the next morning that 911 was called. Alcohol was mentioned, but there was no mention of falling several times, including down a flight of stairs. Listen to part of the call.
We have a friend who is unconscious. He hasn't moved. He's cold extremity. It's probably need an ambulance.
Okay, how old is he?
He is 19. Yeah, 19 years old.
And was he breathing?
He is breathing.
Yeah, the grand jury said the fraternity showed indifference to clear signs that Tim Piazza was in trouble and that they vigorously tried to conceal evidence, with one fraternity brother texting, quote, "Make sure the pledges clean the basement and get rid of any evidence of alcohol." Then another text of the severity of the situation, quoting, "Like what did the most damage?" Response, "He fell down a flight of stairs because he was too drunk." "You can't blame yourself," says a pledge. "How can I not? I don't think you fully comprehend the situation. He looked effing dead." In the wake of the new evidence, 12 additional fraternity brothers have been charged, bringing the total now to 17, 5 of them, as you said, facing manslaughter charges. Martha.
Thank you, Trace. Timothy's parents, Jim and Evelyn, and their attorney, Thomas Klein, join me now. It is, you guys are very brave. I mean, it is hard for me to listen to that. I cannot imagine. I have 2 teenage sons. I can't imagine what it is like for you to listen to that. So I pray for all of you and what you have gone through. But when we did this story originally and we spoke, it was weird, right? That the video that showed the downstairs, they said that one wasn't working, right? Now they know that it was working. How did you find out that news, and why do you think that it took so long for that video to be recovered?
Well, we found out a couple of months ago that they thought the video could be recovered, and the police and district attorney sent it off to the FBI, and the FBI took a couple of months with it. I got a call last Thursday from the district attorney kind of filling me in as to what she saw in the video, some of the incidents, and it was awful then. And, you know, when we heard more on Monday, it was just heart-wrenching.
So, Evelyn, you have not watched this video. And you don't plan to watch this video.
No.
What was your reaction, Evelyn, when you learned these new details about them intentionally removing this tape, which could have given you a lot of evidence and now will?
Well, now we know why they did it, because it shows them intentionally feeding these pledges alcohol way more than they should have. It's describing Tim as stumbling around. He was stumbling around the whole time, and yet they kept pouring alcohol down him. So there's intent.
Thomas, who removed the evidence from this tape? Who tampered with this evidence? And how does this change the charges that they will now face?
Well, this was the missing link, Martha, and this is a great discovery in this case. It was great detective work by a detective whose name is Dave Shikatano. He was dogged, he was persistent, and he eventually figured out that they hit the delete button. Once he was onto it, he then said, we're going to get this and we're going to keep it. The DA tried to make sure that it didn't get back in the hands of the fraternity. They wanted it back. She insisted they didn't get it back. It was great work by a prosecutor. And then eventually, when it got in the FBI's hands, they recovered the tape. The tape shows everything that went on that night. It shows.
So you have to get convictions in this case. I mean, I know that there was a concern on the first round. I mean, but when you have the evidence of destroying evidence, feeding the drinks to him is on the video, right? I mean, he's a big, healthy, athletic young man. 18 drinks in 82 minutes is going to take down pretty much anybody.
Textbook hazing.
How strong is your case against these guys?
Well, the civil case will be extraordinarily strong. The criminal case is also very strong. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
Jim, in terms of Penn State, you know, we just talked about Texas State and other campuses that are removing fraternities from their campus. What's your message to Penn State?
Well, I have an open dialogue going with the president of Penn State, and they've put forth proposals, and many of them they've implemented, some they haven't yet. So I still have a bit concern. I still think there's some other things they can be doing. But, you know, I had a dialogue with the president today. Some of their measures he feels are starting to take. They're seeing some progress made, but there's more to do. There's more to do, and it's all about enforcement. They need to enforce when they see situations that aren't working, where people are hazing, where people are drinking. They need to step in and they need to do the right thing.
They need to physically be in these fraternity houses while this process is happening. I mean, they need to watch these kids. Right. They cannot be left alone in these situations. Right, Evelyn?
No, they really should have an adult present for all pledge activities.
No adult legally wants to be president for any of this, right? Thomas?
Well, universities, more globally as a proposition, universities need to own these fraternities. Universities have run away from their responsibility to own what goes on for their own students' safety and their own students' welfare. That's the bigger problem.
Evelyn, have you heard, last time we talked, have you heard from any of these young men, any remorse shown on the part of any of them?
Not really. One supposedly broke down during the tape being shown in court. One did reach out to us, and that's the extent of it.
You know, one of them reached out to me in particular and said he was Tim's friend and said he would do anything he could to help. So I sent them a note back and said, all right, we'll talk to the DA. If you have things to say it. We want to hear about it. And that hasn't happened.
What about the young man who's described in that in the audio as trying to stop them? I mean, that young man, he could have changed, right? He could have changed the course of this, and you know, not to lay more on him than it sounds like he tried, right?
He tried.
He was pushed away physically, literally thrown against the wall and say, butt out, only in stronger language.
All right, so what is your message, Jim, to young men who are out there in these situations today? What should they do?
Well, if you're thinking about joining a fraternity, think again, think twice about it. And if you're going to do it with a group of people and have a pact. And if you are asked to do things that are unnatural, walk away. Just don't do it. For those that are in the fraternity, you see, this is serious stuff. Don't do this stuff. Hazing is illegal. Don't get involved in it. If somebody asks you to, then you should leave the fraternity.
We have a picture of you and Tim doing a turkey trot last year. I know this is your first Thanksgiving, and we are all thinking about you guys. And as I said to you before, we are so just encouraged by your strength. All of us who are parents of young kids and teenagers and college kids, you are speaking for so many. And I give you so much credit. Thank you very much for being here. And Thomas, good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep us posted on how this goes.
Thank you.
Guys.